What's up guys, Eric from B-Side. Today we have here a Lexus GX 460 and we're going to be installing our wireless CarPlay interface on this vehicle. We already have a few videos out for this vehicle, but we're going to redo it one more time because we did make a small change in our wiring harness. We've been getting a lot of inquiries and customers are thinking they got the wrong kit or the wrong harness, but it is indeed the right harness. We just made a little bit of change to it. The change is also reflected on the written instructions, but our customers like to see the video more than reading the instructions. So I wanted to make a new video showing you that change. Once again, this kit is compatible with 2014 all the way to 2021 Lexus GX 460. It's wireless. You can use it wired as well. It has a USB extension cable that we're going to route. You don't lose any of your factory functions. So let's go ahead, get inside the vehicle and get started. All right guys, so let me go ahead and go over the tools that you're gonna need. So we're gonna use a power tool. You could use a ratchet. We also have a 10mm socket with an extension. We have a panel removal tool. We also have a thick towel, like here. And also prepare a zip tie and double-sided tape and also some electric tape. And those are everything you're gonna need. And let me go over the part. So this is the part that everyone gets confused with. So on the prior version of the harness, there's actually an additional harness that has this power connector connected, but then for this one it doesn't. It's just this, that's it. And then that goes to this over here. That'll connect to the dip switch box. So this is it, and it doesn't have the additional connector going to the screen. So other than this, all the other parts are the same. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. So the first thing we want to do is remove the shift knob. Push down on the shift boot like so, and counterclockwise turn the shift knob to remove. And if you have a difficult time removing the shift knob, you can use a panel removal tool such as this and then push it down. Let's go ahead and remove these two side panels. All right, very easy. You just grab a hold of this and then just pull it out. You can use panel removal tool if you have a difficult time removing this as well, but most likely you won't need one. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Just place your finger here in the corner, just pull it towards you. Once again, you can use the assistance of a panel removal tool if you wish. And let's go ahead and remove this. I'm gonna pry this out just a little bit, just enough so that this could be removed. I'm gonna pull it towards me. All right, now I'm gonna go to the passenger side. I'm gonna remove this garnish that's holding the start button. Just you could use a panel removal tool once again, or you could use your fingers and your nails. Just pull it towards you. Disconnect the power button. We're gonna go ahead and reconnect the power button, just so it's easier to test later. And then let's go ahead and remove this. Before you remove this, make sure your emergency brake, your side brake is engaged, because when we change the gear, your vehicle will roll if you parked your car in an incline. So I'm gonna go ahead and engage the parking brake. All right, to remove this, you could either use a panel removal tool, or you can place your finger down here and just pull it up. Just careful with the clip in the middle. It has a tendency to fall off. If it does, just you could just find it and place it back onto the panel piece. So let me try to see if I could pull this straight up. Okay. The clip did fell, but I do see it down here. It's a yellow clip right in the middle. Here it is. You could just go ahead and place it back onto the center plastic piece. Okay. And go ahead and change this gear down to drive. And you could move it back up and then go ahead and remove these three connectors. Just press down on the release tab and pull out. Do not pull on the wires or the cables because you may damage them. All right. Okay, go ahead and set this aside. All right, next, go ahead and stick your hand back here and just pull it towards you. It's a little panel piece that falls off. It's just being held by clips. All right, next, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 10mm bolts we're going to remove. Go ahead and use an extension. You could use your ratchet. We're going to be using a power tool. All right, all the 10mm bolts are out. We're going to go ahead and pull this radio out first. Let's go ahead and cover this with some sweater, a jacket, a thick blanket will work. And just pull it towards you like so. All right, and then let's go ahead and remove the top screen. All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and disconnect all the connectors behind it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 if you don't have the 360 camera. If you have the 360 camera, you're going to have one extra connector here. All right, let me go ahead and place this aside in a safe location. Okay, next, we're going to locate the 2 connectors I'm going to be working on. It's this larger one here and the smaller one here. We're going to start with the larger one. Okay, you can use a panel removal tool. Just press here. If you don't have a panel removal tool, you could use a small flathead and just pull up. After you pull this up, we're going to go ahead and loop this around up here. And then let's make this daisy chain connection. Okay, so the factory harness to our harness, and then our connector to the factory radio. Okay, there it is. All right, next, let me go ahead and connect the auxiliary audio harness. Okay, this will connect here. Just unplug. Okay, and if you have a hard time putting this in, go ahead and connect it at an angle. All right, so like angle it up right here and then push it in. Push the other side into the radio. So now we have 2 3.5mm jack, one for audio, one for microphone. We also have this power cable, and we also have this main harness interface connector that's going to connect to our dip switch box or interface box. Okay, so we have all this. We're going to go ahead and route it straight down behind the radio, all the way down towards the center console and towards the shifting gear area. Okay. When you're routing these cables and wires, make sure you don't pinch any wires or cables or damage the wires or cables. There are some sharp edges. If you feel your wires getting caught anywhere, never force. Figure out what's going on, assess, and make the adjustment necessary to route the cables in a very safe manner to not damage any of the factory components or our kit. So we went ahead and routed all the cables, all the wires where we wanted it. I'll go ahead and set it aside right here for now. Next, let's go ahead and route these GVIF cables. So one that's labeled GVIF in is going to connect to the factory GVIF cable or the LVDS cable. Okay, and then the green part of these cables will route down, straight down to where the other cables went. Okay. All right, and then we are just left with this, these guys, and this. Okay, and all this will connect to the screen again. Let me go ahead and bring the monitor. So once again, guys, this new revised harness, it doesn't have a power connector going in here. We're gonna just connect the factory on back in. The only connection we're making to this top screen is gonna be this GVIF cable, which goes in here. Everything else is gonna be all factory connectors. So connect this first. Okay, connect this. If you have the 360 camera, you also have this connector. Don't forget to connect that if you do have it. And also don't forget to connect this connector here, bottom. This is for your emergency lights. All right, let's go ahead and push this assembly back in here. Okay, there it is. And then we're gonna push this back in as well. Make sure all your cables were routed properly, and make sure you're not pinching any wires or cables. And when you're pushing this radio back, take a note of your connectors. Okay, make sure they are all facing up, and they're parallel to the radio, because if they're perpendicular to the radio, then it won't close correctly. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of room around here behind the screen, so try to push the cables up and flat, and you won't have a problem pushing the radio back, and you also won't have any risk of damaging any of your cables and wires. All right, there it is. Let me go ahead and organize these wires and cables. Try to not cross these cables and wires if you can. Try to keep them all straight. Okay, so let's first connect our interface box here. The dip switch is going to be already pre-configured. If you have the Lexus GX from 2014 and 2021, your dip switch configuration is going to be 1 down, and everything else is going to be up. Okay, let's first connect this long cable here. This is the interface connector. And then let's connect these two GVIF cables. The one that's labeled out is going to be connected to the inside here. GVIF in is going to connect to the outer edge. Right, and then the last connection left for this interface is going to be this HDMI cable. All right, now let's go ahead and connect our wireless module. So the wireless module, let's start off by connecting these two 3.5mm cables. One's going to be labeled audio, the other one's going to be labeled microphone in. We're going to connect the microphone in first. Okay, it's going to be labeled mic. There might be a label down here instead. Might be a little different, but same box. It's going to be another cable that's labeled audio. It's going to go to line out. It's the one on the corner. Do not connect it here in the middle. This is external speaker, and if you do connect it here, you're going to get distorted sound. And you have the power cable here. It's the black and red wire to power. And then we have the HDMI going to the HDMI. And then we have the USB extension cable connecting here. And then the antenna cable here. Okay, right here. Before I connect it here, let me go ahead and route this. We're going to go ahead and just mount this antenna in here somewhere. But before we do that, let's go ahead and organize all our cables and wires, because we have a lot of long cables here. So let me go ahead and organize them. I'm going to use my electric tape. So I'm going to start off with this cable here. It's kind of long. We use the same harness for a lot of our other vehicle kits, and we do need this cable to be long for the other vehicles. You could zip tie these together, or you could use electric tape, whatever you prefer. And also these 3.5mm cables. Let me go ahead and confirm the operation. So if you disconnected the negative terminal on the car's battery, you want to go ahead and reconnect it and then turn on the vehicle to test it. This area doesn't have to be connected for the testing. Okay, test it. You want to go to your auxiliary. Make sure your EQ is in the middle. Turn up the volume a little bit. Let's play this music. What's the weather?
It's currently clear and 61 degrees.
Perfect. Looks like sound's working. Steering wheel controls. All right, perfect. Okay, everything's working as it should. Let me go ahead and mount the boxes now. Okay, I'll grab some double-sided tape. Doesn't have to be much. Just put a little bit of double-sided tape down here. You could put some foam tape if you wish. And then let's go ahead and we're going to place this flat to the floor. Just make sure, be very, very careful with this connection point here, especially. Don't break it, it's pretty fragile. And just carefully just tuck it in here. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and just set this on top. All right, carefully on top of here. And then just make sure you don't tangle up your wires, cables. Once again, be very careful with the HDMI connection point. And we're gonna use a little bit of double-sided tape to place it on top. All right, I'll go ahead and place it like so. And go ahead and organize all the cables. Make sure it's not in the way of any moving parts down here. Okay, and all the wires and cables that's coming down the radio, go ahead and bunch them together. You're gonna zip tie it to the left side of the factory harness area. Okay, and before we do that, let's go ahead and secure our antenna here. This antenna piece, you can go ahead and just basically secure it anywhere. I secure it down here on the right side. Just don't put it so close to these boxes here because it could catch interference. Okay, all right, so now that we organize the two boxes and the harness, let's go ahead and use some zip ties. I'm going to zip tie these cables down here to the factory bundle of cables. Okay, this step is pretty important or else it might get caught on your door on the center console and your door may not be able to open fully. When you're cutting off the excess part of the zip tie, be careful not to damage or cut any of the cables from our kit and from the factory harness. We're just gonna add a few more zip tie down here, and we're also going to route this USB extension cable down here to the bottom portion to come out on this left side. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie all these wires together right in the center. All right, cool. So this is how it looks. And then we're gonna reverse order everything we just did. So, and that's gonna conclude our installation. So let me go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, well, this concludes our installation on this Lexus GX460. Hopefully this video answers your question and you'll be less confused with how the installation goes with the new harness. If you have any additional questions, you can leave a comment below or you can email us at info@bsonicusa.com and we'll be sure to answer back as soon as possible. Thanks, guys, for watching once again. If you haven't yet, give us that like and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much and see you on the next video.